Welcome everyone. Hope you're having a great day. Okay, here we go. This is lesson 3.1, solving two-step equations. So our standard for today, right? A.REI.3, solving equations. We're going to learn how to solve equation using inverse operations. Let's first talk about a solution. So a solution is a value that makes an equation a true statement. So we're trying to find this value that will make this equation true, right? Both sides, left and right, are equal, right? That makes it a true statement. And we're going to use inverse operations in order to solve, right? So the inverse of addition is subtraction. Inverse of subtraction is addition, right? It goes both ways. Inverse of multiplication is division. Also, inverse of division is multiplication, right? So we just do the opposite to cancel each other out, to undo it, right? So we're essentially going backwards PEMDAS. We're trying to undo everything we just did and find the original number that we just started with. Okay, so addition property of equality says if we add a number to both sides of our equation, it will still be equal, right? In other words, this property allows us to add a value to both sides. That's important. It has to be both sides in order for it to still be equal, to still have equality, they call it. Same with subtraction, right? If we subtract a number to both sides, it will still be equal as long as we do it to that both sides, yeah? To both sides. Always to both sides. And then we can do multiplication. Same, right? If we multiply a number or multiply a value to both sides, we will still have equality. Same with division. Same thing. If we divide a letter to both sides or a number to both sides, it will still be equal. All right, so divide a value to both sides. So you can see the theme of this, right? So as long as we do it to both sides, we can do any operation that we want to. We can multiply, divide, square, square root, anything, right? So we can, as long as we do it to both sides, it should still be equal. Okay, so example number 1, we want to isolate x, and isolating x means that to eliminate what's around it. So x is by itself. So here's x. Imagine that's you. That's you right there. You want to be by yourself. It's like, oh man, my friends are around. I want to get rid of them. I want to be alone. I have alone time. Be alone with my thoughts. What we're gonna do, we just get rid of our friends. So instead of subtract 15, we do the opposite to eliminate. So we're gonna add 15 to both sides, and we just add these two numbers, and we get negative 25. The x, you are now by yourself, so that's the answer. X equals negative 25. Okay, this one, we have x divided by 4. So you want to get rid of divide by 4, we do the opposite, which is multiply by 4. And we have to do it to both sides in order for this to be equal. Negative 12 times 4 gives you negative 48. So your x is equal to negative 48. And that's your solution, right? You are equal to negative 48. You are alone. And like I say, it's backwards PEMDAS, which is SADMAP. So we're essentially subtract adding first, multiply dividing next, exponents, and then parentheses last. We just go backwards PEMDAS. Okay, so example 3, right again. This is you. This is your friend or friends. And now you have a partner, right? So that's your partner. You have someone that's attached to you, boyfriend, girlfriend, partner, whatever you want to call them, right? That's your partner. You want to be next to him. He's like, friends, I want you to leave. Give me some alone time with my partner, right? So to get rid of plus 20, you subtract 20, get rid of them. So 80 minus 20 gives you that 60. And now you have negative 5 times x. In order to get rid of your partner, let's say you want to, okay, I don't know for my partner, I want to be alone, you have to detach. In order to detach from an x, you have to divide it. right? So divide by -5 because it's the opposite of times, like -5 times x. So we have to divide to get rid of it because that's the inverse operation, the opposite. 60 divided by -5 is -12. So x equals -12. Okay, so to detach that -5 and x, you must divide by -5 to both sides to get rid of it. Always divide by that number next to x, right? Divide your partner to detach. Example 4, right? This one we're going to, instead of subtract 8, we add 8. Get rid of your friends. We have 1/3 x, and now we must detach this by dividing, right? If we divide 1/3, it's the same as multiplying by 3/1, the reciprocal, right? We keep, change, flip. Keep, change, flip. Right? Keep the first number, change that sign to multiplication, flip the fraction, the reciprocal. And then when we multiply that, we get 7 times 3, 21. Divide by 1, 21. Or we can cross multiply like this, we just multiply by the reciprocal. Multiply by 3, divide by 1, do it to both sides. Same thing, right? 7 times 3, 21. Divided by 1, we get 21. Same answer. Either way, whichever one is easier. Just multiply by the reciprocal. Okay, recall, to solve an equation, use inverse operations to isolate the variable. Because you want to isolate x. Be by yourself. All right, solution to equation is a value that makes the equation a true statement. Has to make it a true statement. Okay, so number 1, let's look at this one. So we get 5x plus 6. And then we can draw a line in the middle. Just so you know, left and right, we have to do it to both sides. All right, we want to get rid of our friends, right? So we get 5x plus 6. We want to get rid of this positive 6. So we have to subtract 6 to both sides. So that's going to cancel. So we're left with this number, right? 5x equals -54 minus 6, -60. And then we're going to detach x and 5, detach your partner by dividing that 5, right? Divide to detach. So we get x equals, after we divide by 5 to both sides, -60 divided by 5 is -12. So our solution for this one is -12. Okay, and we can see that this is true because if we substitute it into our original equation, it will be true, right? So if we do 5 and our -12, we substitute it, plus 6. 5 times -12, -60, plus 6 is -54, which is equal, right? So they both should be equal values right there, right? So this is check. That is equal. So that works. So x equals -12. Okay, so number 2. Same thing. You want to detach. Right? Get rid of our friends first. Right there. -1. We want to be alone with our partner. So we're going to subtract 1. Bring down what we have right there, which is -8x equals 41 minus 1 is 40. And we want to detach that -8, so we have to divide it. Right? Detach from your partner. So we're going to divide -8 to both sides. X equals 40 divided by -8 is -5. So our solution is -5. Okay, and we're going to check our answers. So we have -8x plus 1 has to be equal to 41. Right? Is this equal? So if we substitute our number, -8, and we substitute -5, it should end up to be 41. So -8 times -5, positive 40, plus 1, that is 41. Right? So this is equal. They're all equal. Left side, right side is equal. Check. That is correct. Right, so our solution is -5. Next one, same process, right? Here's our line in the middle. We want to subtract 8, get rid of that positive 8 first, right? Get rid of the friends. So you'll be alone with your partner. So we're going to subtract 8. So we have x over 6 equals 7 minus 8 is -1. Right? We brought that down. And now we have x divided by 6. So we have to get rid of divide 6. We have to do the opposite, which is multiply by 6. Right? So we're going to multiply by 6 to both sides. And this is going to cancel. So we're left with x equals -6. And that's our solution. So we always just look at it. What is our inverse or the opposite, and do the opposite. So x equals -6, and we're going to check our answer. So x over 6 plus 8 equals 7. So when you substitute x, we have -6 over 6 plus 8. -6 over 6, divide that, you get -1. Plus 8 is +7. So this is true. So that works. We checked our answer. So your solution is -6. Let's go forward. Same process here. We have equal sign. We want to get rid of our friends, right? Get rid of that -1 first. We add it. Get rid of it. So let's do the opposite. So add 1. Both sides. Bring down what we have left. We have -x equals in the middle. 16 plus 1, 17. And then we have -x. Remember, if it's just a negative, no number, it's 1. Right? So this is a -1. Right? So -1 right there. So that means we have to detach by dividing by -1 to both sides. And that's going to cancel. So we're left with x equals -17. So our solution is -17. And we're going to check our answers always. Right? Is this true? Does that come out? So we have negative, and then our parentheses for x, we mean -17, minus 1, and -17, remember it's double negatives, right? That's addition, or positive. So we have +17 minus 1, which is 16. So that came out to be true. That is correct. 16 equals 16. All right, so keep that in mind. If there's a -1 in the front, divide by -1. Okay, next one. Same process, right? Get rid of that +5, we subtract 5. We do it to both sides, so subtract 5. Bring down what we have, -3x plus -7 minus 5 is -12. Then we're going to detach that -3 by dividing it. So divide -3. So we're left with x equals -12 divided by -3, +4. So x equals +4, and we're going to check our answers. 3x plus 5 should be equal to -7. Right? They should be equal. So we're going to substitute. So -3. Now we're going to substitute our 4 and see if it comes out. So -3 times 4, -12, plus 5, that is -7. So that is correct. Check. So that is correct. Okay, number 6. Equal sign again, down the middle. We're going to get rid of that +10, we subtract 10. Subtract 10, both sides. So subtract 10 to cancel. Bring down what we have. So we have 2/3 x equals 14 minus 10, 4. And now we have that fraction, right? So get rid of the fraction, divide by 2/3. We can multiply by its reciprocal. So we're just going to multiply and cross multiply, right? So this cancels each other out. So we just multiply by 3 over 2 is a reciprocal of 2/3. So therefore x equals, and then we multiply across it. 4 times 3, 12. Then we do 1 times 2, 2. 12 divided by 2, x equals 6. And that's our solution, x equals 6. Okay, and then we're going to check our answers. Make sure it's correct. So 2/3. And then now we're going to put in that 6 and substitute that for x. And we're going to multiply that out. So 2/3 times 6, or again, multiply across. Multiply across. We get 12 over 3 plus 10, which is 4 plus 10, which is 14. So that is correct. Right there. So check. That is correct. So x equals 6 is our solution. Okay, so we're going to be solving using inverse operations. Always get rid of your friend first, and then divide by what's attached to the x, what's next to it, in order to isolate it. And then check your answers by substituting.